McDo 6, Roger, 013, standby.
Over to the Stonehenge, son!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the DT. So we got some racing coming up. First race that's coming up is going to be the Moto Beach Classic down in Huntington Beach. What we're going to do to prep this bike for that, since it's an asphalt oval, we're going to be putting on some more street-oriented tires on it, and then also we're going to be changing out the sprockets front and rear and putting a new chain on, trying to go with something a little bit more torque out the gate, so we're not trying to shift through gears, because last year I was stuck in a bunch of in-between gear speeds. So hopefully this will mitigate some of that. Also, I tried riding the bike around yesterday, and we're having some issues here and there, so we'll try to address some of that as well as we go on. But the main goal for today is new tire, or used tires, switching out the tires, new sprockets, and new chain. Alright, you guys, so these are the new parts we're going to be putting on here. We got a new 47 tooth rear sprocket, a 13 tooth nice pretty Drillium sprocket, and we're going to be putting on a new DID gold chain. I also have these tabs. I believe this one's for the DT, if not it's for the RD. We're going to check, but these tabs are replacement tabs that go on the rear wheel to hold the sprocket down. And then to end it all, we're going to lace it up with these Shenko trail tires. So let's get to it. Alright, you guys, so we got the wheel off and up here. This is the rear brake drum assembly. So you can see there's still just a little bit of meat left on the pads. I'm just going to spray these down, clean them up a little bit, throw them back on. We will address these later and add some new EBC brake shoes to it, but we're not doing that one today. Then, here is our sprocket. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that sprocket is worn out. Those things look like little teeth, and some of them are really bent. Here, I'll take it off and show you guys here. So, some of those teeth kind of shark finned out and really bent up. So, we're going to replace that with this new fresh teeth. Just as a comparison. Here, I'm going to put this back up. old teeth to the new teeth. So we're throwing on this 47. I don't know what teeth this one originally is. Looks like a 37 or a 38. We'll figure it out once we pull it off. But we'll put on this 47 tooth, put on the new tabs that we got right here. These look to be the right spacing. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so we caught the clip. So as you see, I didn't have the correct pliers here. I really am limited on tools in this garage, but just shows you you can do basically most of this motorcycle maintenance without the use of specialty tools. No matter what book says or what anyone says, you can work with what you got. Especially when you have to. But as you can see, that is totally worn out. It's not even a perfect circle. So I have no clue how old this sprocket is. I've had this sprocket on here the whole time. I've never taken apart this wheel. And goes to show you how much maintenance I usually do on these old bikes. But yeah, that's not good. Good thing we're putting on this new one before the new race season. I mean, it's lasted 3, but I mean, these are just so worn out. Yeah, it's time for a new one. This one's going in the garbage. So, now that we got the sprocket on the rear wheel and we got this sprocket off, this is kind of cleaned up. Just hit it with some engine cleaner, engine degreaser, and a little bit of carb cleaner just to clean it all up. But now that that's all done, we're going to throw on the new sprocket. We're going to take off the front wheel. I already tried messing around trying to take the tire off, and it's just not going to happen with the tire irons. I don't know how the hell I did it the first time, but it ain't happening in this heat. So I'm going to take off the wheels, send those off to a tire shop, have the tires put back on, new inner tubes in there, and slap it all back together. But I'll check back in with you once we get the sprocket on. Alright, you guys, so wheels are off, new sprockets are on, we got everything loaded up, ready to go out to the tire shop to get the new tires put on. I just want to address the use of the wrong tool for the application. I want to reiterate here, I'm in a different garage than usual. This garage, I don't have all the tools that I should have. I'm slowly going to keep growing the tools in this garage, as with the tools in the other garage, and wherever else tools are going to be. But yeah, vice grips are definitely not a great substitute for torquing down anything, especially a sprocket nut. I will be going back through and torquing everything down before racing or even final assembly. I just wanted to get it on and not lose any of the parts before I leave for the day from this place. So just want to really reiterate, vices are not a good wrench, screwdrivers are not a great punch, and small screwdrivers are really not a good substitute for prying out those little locking washers and such. But it is a prime example of you work with what you got. Today I didn't have all the tools that I should have had, but we were still able to get 90% of the work done. If I stayed here longer with tire irons and sweated my ass off, we could have gotten the tires on as well here. I just don't think it's worth it. You guys can make your own decisions when working on your own bikes. I've done it too many times. I know I can do it, and we'll probably do it switching these tires back over when it gets back to being desert season. But yeah, that's it for today. We'll check back in once we get the tires on. Everything else is going up, and hopefully we'll be able to rip this thing over to get a brewski. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the garage. So, as you can see, we've gotten some progress done on the bike. So we got the tires back on, new sprockets on it, went and tested it out. Seems to be doing pretty good. I think we're going to do much better with this tire versus those super knobby desert tires that we were running last year for the race. Also, we threw on some bar risers. I want to put these on temporarily before I buy a larger set of bars. I just want to see if it'll help with any of the steering controls while we're going into some of the corners. And as you can also see, the fenders are gone. So we got new Preston Petty fenders, front and rear MXs. So today we're going to be throwing them on. We got to trim them up, cut them up a little bit. The front one, we have some clearance issues, so I'll show you how we're going to mitigate those. And hopefully this bike will be pretty close to ready for racing here in 2 weeks. Alright, you guys, so as you can see here, we're going to have to cut and notch a little part right here to make clearance for this exhaust so the whole thing can sit flat and straight. We're going to do that with a Dremel, hopefully it doesn't burn up the whole thing. We're just going to go slowly and incrementally, keep coming back and test fitting it so we don't cut too deep and try to keep everything looking the way it should look. Yeah, I've messed around with plastics a lot trying to cut and make them work, and even if you think you've drawn it perfectly on there, on the fender, exactly the cut line the first time, it never is. You usually cut it way too much or cut it way too little. So it's better just to go little by little, step by step, trimming smaller and smaller until it fits perfectly, because you can keep taking stuff off, can't put the stuff back on. So we'll start with cutting off just a little bit, come back, test it, come back, test it, hopefully get it all dialed in pretty well. Alright, so as you can already see, that one cut, we basically got this thing really close, and it was just a little tiny bit. There's a little bit more trimming we got to do for clearancing, just so the fender doesn't melt to the exhaust. I'm not too worried about it melting a little bit, because, you know, it is a race bike, but we don't want it to be toasted out. So I think maybe not even, just a little tiny bit of sanding actually. I think we're going to be able to get that little nick off. So we're going to go through, sand this thing, start plotting out where we're going to drill the 2 holes down here, figuring out how we're going to make a bracket up here. We'll go on from there. Alright, so we're back. We got the 1/2-inch conduit strap, which we're going to use as the bracket to hold the fender on the back hoop. So I got one already out there spray painted black to kind of go with the rest of the bike, kind of try to blend in and not look like a piece of conduit strap. So all we have to do now is we're going to mock this one up, we're going to put it up there, we're going to bolt the fender, drill the holes and bolt the fender to this so it's holding correct for the mounting tabs right here, which we're going to drill after that. After all of those are all drilled up, we'll tighten it all up, make it look good. Then we're going to start working on the front fender. Jeez, I'm going to redo that one. change of plan. We're gonna go and start working on the front fender. I was a dumbass and forgot to grab nuts for all the bolts I bought. So instead of running there right now and doing that, we're just gonna transition over to the front. That's all threaded in through the triple clamps. So we'll start moving on to that. Fender all mounted up, so we have just normal washers on this side here going into the flat bushing. We ended up not using the tapered bushings that we printed just because I didn't think that we needed them, and this seemed to have more surface area against the fender after it had squish up in there. So you can see here we're close but totally clear all the way through across the frame, no rubbing. With the compression as well, the cycle of the fork, it's still good as well. So I'm going to say that the front fender is good to go. Now all we got to do is run back to the hardware store to grab some nuts for these bolts. And once we're done with that, drill the holes under here, mount it all up, and we're good for the day. Alright, you guys, so here she is in all her glory. This is the DT she's set up. We're going to still add some number plates to this. Those still haven't come in, but the fenders are on. Wheels are on. Everything's dialed in. We got the kill switch on there. Came back. We got the fenders all mounted up straight. Fucking, I'll blur that, I guess. I don't know. Fenders are on there. Everything's looking good. It's still got a little bit of some of the wiring stuff to connect, just the lights, but everything else is good. Tested her out a little bit. Still got a little bit of adjusting to do here and there. That's why the fuel line was off, because I was adjusting the carburetor. But I think we're going to have her all dialed and good, ready to go. So, I don't know if it's going to be the next video or a couple videos from now, but I'll be bringing you guys video footage from Moto Beach 2024. So, yeah, if you guys want to see that, you want to see more about the bike and everything else, or all the other stupid racing we're doing, follow, tap that like button, subscribe, do all the things that everyone else asks you to do, and have a great weekend.